So, what if the single biggest threat to your leadership wasn't the competition, wasn't some big market shift? What if it was something happening inside your own head? We're talking about burnout, but probably not in the way you're used to thinking about it. In this explainer, we're going to unpack a whole new playbook for resilience. And it's not about enduring pain, it's about mastering recovery.
Okay, first things first, we need to get a handle on just how big this problem is, because this isn't about a few leaders feeling a little stressed out. No, we're looking at a silent epidemic, one that's quietly crippling organizations from the inside out. And it starts right at the top.
Just look at this number, 72%. A recent Gallup poll found that nearly 3 out of every 4 senior leaders say they feel burned out. Seriously, let that sink in for a minute. The very people steering the ship, they're running on empty. Now, this is maybe the most important takeaway of the whole thing. Burnout is not a personal failure. It is not a lack of grit or toughness. It's a response to psychologically hazardous factors in the workplace. You know, I love this analogy. Think of a leader like a high-performance race car driver. You can be the best in the world, but if the engine's overheating and the tires are bald, you're not going to win the race. The problem isn't the driver, it's the track conditions. So this all leads to the million-dollar question for every single leader out there. In this kind of high-pressure world, how do you not just survive but actually thrive? How are you supposed to lead effectively when you are constantly running on empty? All right, to answer that, we've got to put on our detective hats for a minute. We need to go looking for the hidden culprits. See, there are these 4 psychological drains that are silently, and I mean silently, siphoning off your most valuable resource every single day. And that resource? Well, researchers have a great name for it: vitality. Now, this isn't that kind of jittery artificial buzz you get from a triple espresso. No, vitality is this abundance of positive, high-quality energy. It's that feeling of being totally engaged, focused, and ready for anything. It is the essential fuel for great leadership. So, what's draining this vital resource? Well, organizational psychology points to 4 key mechanisms. And I want you to think of them like a slow leak in a tire. You might not even notice it at first, right? But if you don't find it and patch it, you're eventually going to end up stranded on the side of the road. Okay, drain number 1 is something called emotional labor. This is that constant effort, the planning and control it takes to show up as the calm, confident leader your team needs, even when you feel the exact opposite inside. I mean, just think about it. How many times this week did you have to project total confidence in a meeting when internally you were actually freaking out? It's exhausting. In fact, 70% of CEOs say it's one of their biggest energy drains. And all that emotional labor, it leads directly to our second drain: emotional dissonance. This is that awful, gut-wrenching conflict between what you're actually feeling and what you have to show on the outside. It's that feeling of being an imposter. And living in that gap between the mask and your real self, it doesn't just feel inauthentic, it literally drains the life out of you. All right, next up, self-control fatigue. So think about your self-control like it's a battery with a limited charge. Every single time you have to override an urge, like patiently listening to a complaint instead of snapping, or putting your own critical work on hold to help someone else, you're draining that battery just a little bit. For leaders, it's basically death by 1,000 tiny withdrawals. And the final one, this is a huge one, is the loss of job control. Oh man, you know this feeling. You walk in on Monday morning with a perfect plan for the week, right? And by 9:15 a.m., your entire calendar has been completely hijacked by other people's crises, unexpected demands, and endless back-to-back meetings. You know, this quote from a Fortune 1000 CEO just nails it. They said, somebody else's lack of preparation or somebody else's idea of what is urgent sucks a lot of energy out of me. It's so true. It's not the hard work itself that's the problem. It's being at the mercy of everyone else's priorities. Okay, so we've identified the drains. Now what? How do you fight back? Well, the answer isn't just to work harder or be tougher. It's about working smarter. It means we need a totally new resilience playbook, one that starts with a really big shift in how we think about all of this. And this comparison here really shows you what I'm talking about. The old mindset was all about endurance, toughness, always being on. But that's just not sustainable. The new mindset, it's all about recovery. It's about strategic pauses. The currency isn't time anymore. The new currency is energy. It's not about how long you can grind. It's about how quickly and effectively you can recharge your batteries. And the foundation of this whole playbook is your personal well-being. And look, I really need you to hear this. Things like exercise, sleep, nutrition, taking time to recover, these are not luxuries. They're not nice to haves. They are fundamental, non-negotiable leadership competencies. So I have a real question for you. Are you treating your well-being like a strategic tool or like an indulgence you'll get to someday?
Okay, so if you're looking for something you can do like right now, here are two incredibly powerful quick wins. First, the 90-minute focus block. Seriously, just imagine what you could get done with 1 or 2 blocks of completely uninterrupted deep work every day. And then there's the 5-3-1 sleep protocol. No caffeine 5 hours before bed, no meals 3 hours before, and no screens 1 hour before. Think about what it would feel like to actually wake up rested and clear-headed. These aren't just little life hacks, they're total game changers.
Because here's the thing, when you start protecting and building your vitality, the change isn't just about you. It's not just internal. It fundamentally transforms the way you show up as a leader. So let's talk about the ripple effect. Let's look at how leading with vitality changes, well, everything. Take a look at this table. I want you to think of this as the two versions of you that can show up to work every day. On one side, you've got the drained you, impatient, closed off, distracted. And on the other side, you've got the vital you, curious, clear-headed, visionary, inclusive. Now, we're all a mix of both, right? But the really honest question to ask yourself is, which version of you is your team getting most of the time?
Because at the end of the day, your personal energy is never just personal. It creates this huge ripple effect across your entire team, your entire organization. Your vitality, it directly impacts your team's engagement, their psychological safety, their performance. It's like you're the one setting the weather. So, what kind of weather are you creating for your people?
And that really brings us to the core of it. The old model of leadership, the one that's all about sheer endurance, it's just a recipe for burnout. Your legacy isn't going to be about how much you suffered through. It's going to be about the wisdom you showed. It demands more than just endurance. It demands wisdom. So, I'll just leave you with this final question. Your vitality, your energy, it is your single most irreplaceable asset. And protecting it isn't selfish. In fact, it's the most strategic and maybe even the most selfless act of leadership you can perform. The real question isn't if you should protect it, it's how you're going to start. What's the one thing you'll do today to start rebuilding that asset?